All right. Check, 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 check. Testing one, two. It's like I'm at a gig. Testing one, two. Testing one, two. Checking out my microphone here. Make sure it's working in my ears and it's loud enough so people can hear me. Welcome to Road Rash and Band-Aids live on Friday night here on YouTube. I'm Bart Robley, your host, and tonight's beverage of choice, Vita Coca coconut water. This stuff is fantastic. I got hooked on this years ago. Um, I've been doing yoga and working out and doing hot yoga for. I haven't done hot yoga in a while, but I used to do hot yoga for years. And man, this stuff is the best. So there you go. Vita Coca. So tonight we are talking about the new, or I'm talking about the new Sam Morrison Band tune, "Guts to Go." It just came out today, just dropped today on all streaming platforms. So what I wanted to do, so in the comments below, or in the description below, I've got a link to Spotify where you can go and listen to the tune. So if you want to hear it, you can just go down into the description after this and check it out and hopefully dig the tune. So, what I want to do is tell the story of the tune, and I want to tell the story of how we recorded the tune, and then I wanted to kind of tell some of my guts to go stories. And, it goes something like this, honestly. Last week, before I get into the recording song, last week, Sam asked everybody in the band, actually a couple weeks ago, he's like, "Hey, look, I want you to make a video about your guts to go story, like when you really had to have the guts to just go all in and do something, right?" And so I made mine and I put it up here on YouTube, and people watched it and they dug it. And if you haven't seen it or you're interested in seeing it, go again down in the description. I've got the links to everything down there. You can go down and when this is over, and you can watch my original Guts to Go story. And it's actually the story of when I got into Sam Morrison Band, and we went over to Bosnia and Croatia and Kosovo and played in active war zones over there, and kind of how I got my start in the band and how I came into the group hard, man. I came in hard. So that's my story there. So what you can do, like I say, after this is over, go down into the description and you can watch my original Guts to Go video there. So before I even tell the first part of the story, I want to say that every time I do something like this, right? When I do a one of my videos here on Road Rash and Band-Aids, whether it be for any subject matter, it's all to help people. It's to help younger musicians. It's to help the next generation of musicians, and drummers, and help people along with their careers, because this isn't an easy gig, right? Being a professional musician can be pretty daunting at times. It's not what a lot of people think. It's not that the glitz and the glory and the stuff that you see on TV and everything like that. It's far from that. So anyway, that's what these videos are, geared towards. And this one's really geared towards it because, again, just the song Guts to Go, right? It's an inspirational tune because we've all been there. We've all had those moments. You've had them, I've had them, where it's like, man, I need to take a leap of faith. And it's called a leap of faith for a reason, right? So, anyway, I'm gonna start with how we recorded the song, and then I'll tell a couple of my Guts to Go stories, and then tell why decided to do more than just my original one. Um, so a lot of times, for those of you who don't know how to about recording and how records are made and how albums are made and stuff like that, there's a lot of times a band gets together in a recording studio. They all sit around and they play together, right? It's just a band playing in a studio. They record it, they capture it, and mix it and everything, and put it out, master it and whatnot. But then sometimes it's not that way. Sometimes you're the only person in the studio recording your parts. And in my case, this room that I'm sitting in here, as I've said in previous videos, is a recording studio, right? So I do videos like this here. I do a lot of lessons here, drum lessons and coaching in here. And then I record in here. My drum set's right there. All the mics are up, and I record drum tracks in here all the time. Do voiceover stuff in here all the time, right? It's a great room for that. And so what happens is a lot of times a client or Sam, will send me a song. Hey, I've got this new song. Let's get the drums recorded to it. And they'll send me the song. Now, when they send me the song, it's in what's called demo form. I'm sure you've heard the word demo before or heard that term before. It's a demonstration, a demo tape. And what it is just kind of like it's the way the song is going to go, but it's not the final of it, right? And when I get that demo, it has drums in there that are usually what we call canned drums or fake drums. Back in the day, it's called a drum machine, but nowadays they have drum programs. You can go in and program the drum so it sounds like a live drummer playing. But really, what ends up happening, no matter how good of a drum program you are, even if you're a drummer doing it, it always sounds like canned drums. Doesn't sound real, right? And a lot of publishing houses and a lot of sync licensing houses want live drums. So thus I record the drums. Now, when I get those demos, sometimes those canned drums are okay, and sometimes they're just a glorified metronome. Now, usually what I'll ask a client is, what do you want me to do? And usually they'll say the same thing. They'll say, well, I hired you, so I want you to come up with the drum parts. But here's what I've learned over the years of recording. And that is that when you stray too far from what they already have programmed in, they don't like it because they're used to hearing that, right? So Sam had sent over this drum part or this song, and he had a drum part in there. He goes, I kind of like the way I programmed the drums, but do what you want. And I listened to it and I was like, yeah, it's okay. And I thought to myself, well, he said, do what I want. So I recorded a part for it. And I sent it over to him and he goes, man, I know I told you to record your part, but I kind of want you to get closer to the demo. I was like, okay, cool. And as a creative person, he knows what he wants. And as a creative person, I know what I would like to do and what I think would work. Right. And as a drummer, I think I know what would work. And so I recorded his part and I was like, okay, there we go. Send it off to him. And man, I'm glad I did because he was right. He nailed it. When I listened back to the drum part on this track, I'm like, man, I didn't hear what he heard. And I'm really glad that he heard it because it came out really good. He did a fantastic job. I was the drummer on the song. That was it. I didn't write the drum part. I didn't arrange anything. I just played what he did and it came out great. He did a fantastic job of putting this together in such a fashion that it would work in a real world scenario. And as a drummer, I thought, yeah, this is great. Now, the reason I'm telling that part of the story is because if you are a drummer, which I hope you are a drummer watching this that finds this video, don't always poo-poo other people's ideas. Have the guts to go with what they gave you because in this case, it really works. So Sam, if you see this, when you see it, good job on programming those drums. It was a really good drum part. He did a bang up job. And I just went in and copied what he did. It's like David, our guitar player, said once, it's kind of like tracing, copying what somebody else did. It's pretty cool. So anyway, back to what I said at the beginning of the movie, I already did my guts to go moment and recorded that and put that video up and stuff. But as the song came out, everybody had put up their guts to go moment, everybody in the band. And I was thinking to myself, throughout my life, I've had a lot of guts to go moments. Like I've had a lot of moments where I had to dig down and get the guts to go do something, right? So I started thinking about telling some of those stories, and again, telling them in such a fashion that it's really I'm trying once again, I'm trying to help people, trying to inspire them, trying to motivate them to follow their hearts, follow their dreams, because we all have them. And you don't want to get to that point in your life or to an age where you can't do it anymore. So, and I also don't believe that, it's too late to start, I mean, as long as you got air in your lungs and you can still move and you're still mobile enough, I think it's good to follow your dreams and do what you want. So my first guts to go moment that I really remember is when I was a young kid, grew up on a cattle ranch. I grew up in a life that was pretty secluded and a little bit stifling. Secluded because I grew up on a cattle ranch. There's pictures of it right there behind me. You can't really see them, a whole lot of them, but grew up on this cattle ranch, and my mom had 2 things that was just so prevalent in her life. Number 1, she was an Elvis fan, Elvis Presley, and me too. There's a velvet Elvis hanging right over there on the, wall of the studio. Huge Elvis fan. My mom was a huge Elvis fan. Like that's what she listened to was Elvis. When I was a young kid, I didn't realize other people played music. I thought there was 2 people that were the musicians of the world, and that was Elvis Presley and the lady in the back of the church that played the out of tune piano. Those were the 2 people I thought played music. It wasn't until later that I realized, oh, there's more than one singer in the world. Again, very, sheltered life. And, and my mom was also extremely religious, as I said, the lady in the back of the church. And she was overly zealous in her religious beliefs, to say the least. And that's not throwing her under the bus. That's who she was. And that's an observation, not a judgment. She was very, very, very religious. And she was a religion that was very stifling and that was passed down, as most belief systems are from generation to generation. I remember being a young age and, you know, just listening to some of the stuff they're saying, like a really young age. It's one of those early memories. And listening to some of the stuff they were talking out of one of their books, and it just didn't make sense to me. And something in my heart said, don't listen to this. It's not right. And at the time, I didn't know what it was, and now I believe that to be the Holy Spirit. And I know with everything that I am that that's what it was, telling me don't buy into this. So anyway, years go by, and I just couldn't live under that anymore. I just knew I couldn't do it anymore. Right? I had to get out from underneath that umbrella of her religion. And long story to vent, but I knew that no matter what I did when I got out of it, that my family, all of my family would turn their back on me because that's what this religion did, right? And so I did. I got out, and that's exactly what happened. Talk about a guts to go moment and bearing your soul. I thought this was a drumming and music podcast, Bart. Well, the song's Guts to Go. That was my first Guts to Go moment where I really remember having to go, man, this is going to be a drag. This is going to be really hard, but I did it. And I, since that was a lifetime ago, I'm talking like a lifetime ago. I've lived in California since 1989. September of 89 is when I got out here to California. So again, I'm dating myself. So, yeah, so 1989 is when I moved out here. And, then anyway, before that, once I got out of the religion, I also the ranch that I grew up on went away. Long story there. Um, and when when that happened, I was about 18, 19, 20-ish, I think, something like that. And, it was time for me to spread my wings and fly anyhow. I'd graduated high school, had a couple of odd jobs around town in Denver. I'd been playing drums as far back as I can remember. Again, back to the Elvis story. My mom always had Elvis on, and that's what really got me started. That was the first concert I saw. I was 5 years old, and my mom took me to see Elvis at the Denver Coliseum. And I was hooked ever since then, and I knew that drumming is what I was going to do with my life. And so, anyway, you know, my folks were then my mom and my stepfather, after the ranch had went away, were going to move from Colorado to California, but I didn't want to go with them. So I stayed there for a little while longer. And so they left and moved up to Northern California. And, I stayed in Colorado, but as I stayed there, the longer I stayed, the more I realized, man, there's not a lot here for me. There's not a lot here. And I had to make a decision that I was going to follow my dream of being a musician Or my father had an incredibly successful construction company. I could have stayed working for him. I had options. I was young. I had different things I could have done. But I knew that I didn't wanna be my age now and look back and go, "What if I would have followed my heart? What if I would have followed my dream? What if I would have followed my heart as a drummer?" Even if I would have made a lot of money and had all the material stuff living in Colorado, I would have, you know, at some point, I would have bought a really expensive drum set, and it would have sat in my basement, and I would play it once every blue moon, and I would always wonder. I didn't want that, so I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna follow my dream," and I had I had made the decision, "Okay, I'm either gonna go to California because I knew a guy out here, and, his name was Craig, and, he was in a band, or I was gonna go to, New York and study jazz and be a jazz drummer and do the hip, New York jazz thing." And, I was driving into my job in downtown Denver, and it was snowing, and I just got my car aligned, and I had this old piece of junk car, and I just got it aligned, and I hit a patch of ice and boom, hit the curb, knocked it out of alignment. And I was like, "Okay, I'm not going to New York. I'm going to California. I'm gonna go where the sunshine is and the palm trees and the girls in bikinis." And, so I made my decision. I talked to my friend Craig, who was in a band, and they were void of drummers. So, okay, I'm gonna come out and play drums for you. And I pretty much that's how I got the gig with his band, was I just told him I was gonna do it. So, like I said, I had this old piece of junk car, and I packed up everything I owned, and I took all my drums and I took the bottom heads off, and I shoved all my clothes inside the drums, and I put them in my car and put all this stuff in my car, and what couldn't fit in my car stayed in my apartment in, um, Colorado, in Englewood, Colorado, and it was I'll never forget it. It was a Wednesday afternoon in September, the end of September. Got in my car and split, and I had, like, 300 bucks in my pocket. I had, like, no money, 300 bucks, and I'm gonna move to Los Angeles. Yeah, right. And, and so I remember getting to Grand Junction, which is right the last town in Colorado before you get to Utah. So I went up over I-70, got to Grand Junction, and I thought, well, I can either drive through the desert of Utah at night, or I can drive through the desert of Utah during the day. And I'd rather do it during the day. If I break down, somebody can see me. So got a hotel room in Grand Junction, and then got up at like 3:30 or 4 in the morning and split and made it to Garden Grove, California the next day. And, that was a guts to go story. So those 2 stories, right? The leaving my mom's religion and then leaving Colorado to come to California. Man, took a lot of guts to do that. And, I got out here, got into the band with my friend Craig, and I played in a couple of bands. I played in 2 bands. I played in that one, and I played in another heavy metal band. And then I met Sam, and, the rest is history, as they say, right? And again, I don't wanna go into how I got into Sam's band again, because you can watch that in the video in the description below. So go down there after this if you've made it this far and watch, my original Guts to Go video, in the description below of how I got into the band. But then after 26 years, there's been so many people that have come and gone out of the band. And I say this with great reverence because everybody that's been in the band, there's only been a couple people since I've been in the band that have come in that like weren't really, maybe they shouldn't have had the gig, and that weeded itself out right away. It was just like, okay, that didn't work. There was 2 that I can really think of, and it ended relatively quick with those people. But everybody else had the guts to go. They had the guts to stay in the band. They had the guts to keep moving forward uh, with it. And the crew that we got now, the guys that we have now. I mean, I think the shortest member in the band now. I mean, for shortest member of time in the band now is 15 years, maybe something like that. 12 years. It's. I mean, everybody has. We've got tenure. We've been at this for a while. Um. So I tell those stories again as a way to talk about my guts to go moments. And if you're watching this, it doesn't matter if you're a musician, a younger musician, somebody who has, and I say younger, and I really kind of mean somebody that's just starting out. It doesn't matter your age. If you have a dream of being a musician, then be a musician. And it will take some guts, because you're going to have to learn to play. You're going to have to buy the instruments, and then when you come to your first gig, you're going to deal with stage fright, and there's always going to be these questions that you have. But I think the moral to my story is don't look back and have that thing where you go, man, if I would have just overturned that one stone in my life, what would have been under there? So I had to overturn all the stones, and some of those stones took guts. And then just honestly, there was a period of time where it's like, okay, do I stay in the band? And that took guts. So I mean, there's so many guts to go moments. Now, again, what is the moral to the story? Or if you're at a job that you don't like, or you're a musician and you're in a band that you don't like, you're in a relationship you don't like, you know, take take the leap of faith and have the guts to go, because it's important. You don't want to look back in your life, like I said, and go, what if? And I'm not even saying regrets. I mean, it's just that question, what if? What if I would have done it? Um, I had a guy as my orthodontist recently, like in the last 10 years. He had a very successful business, and he was at the age where he was going to retire, but he could have kept working. He's very fit, loved his job, loved what he did. But he goes, I think I'm going to get out of this business. I mean, he's an orthodontist. He's used to working with very small little instruments. We were talking about it one day. He goes, I've always loved fishing, and I think I'm going to start a company that makes, I started tying flies for fly fishing. And he goes, I'm going to start doing that and start a business. And I was like, wow, you're going to leave this, you know, long running orthodonture business that is thriving to start a fly company tying flies for fishing. That took guts. So those are the things I'm talking about. Whatever your dream is, whatever it is that, whether it be a guts to go moment to follow a dream that you've always wanted to do, or it's a guts to go moment to get out of something you don't like, once again, a job or relationship, whatever, have the guts to do it. And I hope that this video, and I hope that the song is inspirational to you, and I hope that it's something you can tap into and maybe realize that no matter what you're going through or what your guts to go moment is, man, tap in and find what you need, and into that special reserve that we all have, and have the guts to do it. Have the guts to do whatever it is that you need to do. I would love to hear your guts to go stories. I would love to hear your ideas on this. Please put them in the comments. I would absolutely love that. And please like and subscribe. I'm trying to do these live videos every Friday night, somewhere between 4 and 6. And I know that doing these videos consistently at the same time is important. Being a touring musician, I'm not always going to be able to do them on Friday, but I will do my best, and I'm trying to upload a lot of content. So I hope that it's helpful to you, and I hope you like it. If you're interested in lessons or coaching with me, all the links are in the description below. The links to my books are in the description below. And once again, the links to the new Sam Morrison Band song, Guts to Go, is in the description below. Check it out. Thank you guys so much for watching. And remember, no matter what it is that you do in life, no matter what it is you want to do in life, have the guts and go. Go do it. You've got this. See you in the next video.